just standing up for the cause of legalization helps right there. You just being here today helps the cause of legalization, because other people walking by, we had a tour group of a bunch of folks on Segways. We were setting up here a little earlier, about 10:30 in the morning, and they see Thomas over there setting up all the bongs and glass and such. They had to make all these pot jokes, right? We don't want to back up too far into that. They're all nervous about it, right? It's kind of weird. And another lady, she said, if I'd have known this would have been here, I wouldn't have my daughter come on the tour. They're all nervous, right? But that nervousness belies something, that they realize the world is changing. We've got a saying out in Portland, Oregon: if you don't like marijuana, you're not going to like the future. Because this is the future, what we're doing here. I'm standing before you right now in a hemp hat and a hemp shirt. We are marching today for not necessarily marijuana, that's the subject, but the war, what we're marching for overall here, is liberty, is freedom. As far as I'm concerned, there's not a government in the world that has the right to tell me what I do with my body with the plants that come out of the earth. You agree with me on that?
Yeah.
That's a fairly mainstream Texas thing, I would think. Something that I've always been curious about too, because like I'm from Portland, Oregon, but I'm originally from Boise, Idaho. Now, Boise, Idaho, pretty conservative place. In fact, I wasn't actually from Boise. I was from a suburb that was even more conservative, right? If you can imagine such a thing. So I come from a place that's a very, very conservative place, very rural, very farm-oriented, very states' rights, very gun rights place. And it always kind of bothered me that it seemed to them that marijuana was the exception to everything they believe. How did marijuana get to be the exception to everything that conservatives believe? Conservatives believe in limited government. Unless we want to build a $1 trillion operation to start infiltrating people's rights to grow things and do with what they choose, then we'll have a big government. We're all for big government then, right? How does it make any sense from a conservative standpoint? Conservatives are supposed to be about personal responsibility, right? Well, what's more personal responsibility than doing with my lungs and my mind what I choose to do, so long as I'm not harming others? It blows my mind to think that in my home state of Idaho, and I'm sure for a lot of folks here in Texas, there are folks, and God bless them for doing it, actively campaigning for the ability to carry firearms with them wherever they go. That's fine. I'm into the Constitution. But how can you not be afraid of a firearm but be terrified of a joint? All right, go ahead and pack an AR-15, but whatever you do, don't bring a vape pen with you. My God, somebody might get hurt. That makes no conservative sense. Oops, sorry about that. It makes no conservative sense whatsoever. So I encourage you all to become an activist today. I became an activist 11 years ago, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. My family now extends from the East Coast to the West Coast. After this, I go to Orlando, Florida. After that, I go to Anchorage, Alaska. I'll be in Portland. I'll be in Texas. I'll be in Virginia. All across the United States, people are yearning for this change. And you guys are real lucky here to have DFW NORML fighting for that change. Let's give it up for DFW NORML putting this on. I used to be NORML's outreach coordinator, and so I helped to build a lot of the chapters throughout the country. And I can tell you, DFW NORML's number one in my books as far as the motivation, the activism you got going on here, because not only do you have a big functional chapter with great events like this, but you're doing it in Texas. You know how big that is for our movement? How big that is when I show pictures to people all across the country. Like, your march today is going to be bigger than the Portland, Oregon march, I guarantee it. You're going to have more people here than Portland, Oregon. Now, part of the problem is we've got it good in Portland. It's legal there in Portland. In my hometown, from where I live, if I need to go get some marijuana, I go to the shop on 24th Street. And if I don't like the prices there, I go to the one on 28th, or the one on 33rd, or the one on 42nd, or the one on 62nd, or the one on 82nd. Like, we have choices and variety. There's a price war going on between Oregon and Washington now, because they share a border, and they're competing with each other on the prices and the supply. The store in Vancouver, Washington, right across the border from Portland, Oregon, is called Main Street Marijuana. Last time I went to Main Street Marijuana, I decided I wanted to buy a half ounce of sun-grown Durban poison because I like my sativas. Sun-grown Durban poison, half ounce, tested out at 24.85% THC, because we have labels. You don't have to believe some guy's BS story. We actually have testing that tells you what it is. How much do you think that half ounce costs? Now keep in mind, that half ounce comes with a 37% state excise tax and 6 to 9% local taxes. Half ounce, top shelf, Durban poison, 24% THC, $45. $45. Now that was a special. Granted, it was a special. They had a whole bunch of it. The average prices, they're higher. Your half ounces are going to cost, $75. $75. I would be hard pressed to find a $200 ounce in Portland. If I really looked hard, maybe I could find one rolled in keef and dusted in oil or something. But regular old weed is not going to cost that much. And so this revolution is coming. It's coming here. It's coming all across the country, because as much as I'd like them to legalize marijuana because it helps sick people, as much as I'd like them to legalize marijuana because it's wrong to lock people up, as much as I'd like them to legalize marijuana because hemp could save this planet, I'll accept them legalizing marijuana because they think they can make money on it. Okay, I'll take that. Whatever. It'd be better if you had a heart and a mind, but if it's your pocketbook that's going to get you to legalize, so be it. Let's get this thing legalized. I'm Radical Russ from Cannabis Radio. Thanks. You guys have a great show, and we'll be marching a little later. Now, it looks like we got the cars moved, so back to the music.